The Turing test is often understood as a scientific proof that a computer is intelligent, or even conscious. This was the pitch of Ex Machina, a very good science fiction movie that was released in 2014.
Do you know what the Turing test is?
It's when a human interacts with a computer. And if the human doesn't know they're interacting with a computer, the test is passed.
And what does a pass tell us?
That the computer has artificial intelligence. If you've created a conscious machine, it's not the history of man. That's the history of gods.
But the Turing test was not made to test machine consciousness, and even not machine intelligence. In fact, the Turing test is quite obsolete, and the only thing it can demonstrate today is that humans can be fooled. And what was shown in Ex Machina is absolutely not a Turing test. You don't believe me? Let's have a look.
As everybody knows, the goal of the Turing test is to detect if humans are conscious or not. Today I invited Dr. Sock, who works at Robotropic and is expert in human welfare. So, Dr. Sock, what probability do you give to humans having some level of conscious experience in 5 years' time?
Yeah, I don't have hard numbers for you here, but I think the probability is going to go up a lot.
Gotcha!
You numbed my artistic side.
Alan Turing was an English mathematician and a genius. In 1936, he conceptually invented the very first computer without even building one. During the Second World War, he participated in the building of a machine to decipher coded German messages. Doing so, he saved thousands of lives. In 1950, he wrote the paper Computer Machinery and Intelligence, where we describe the famous Turing test. In 1952, Alan Turing was condemned for homosexuality. He chose chemical castration to avoid prison. He committed suicide 2 years later. The real goal of Alan Turing was to determine if a machine could think. But let's not forget, we were in 1950. Computers did not exist yet, artificial intelligence was totally unknown, and scientific rigor was non-existent. So the paper of Turing was mainly a thought experiment. Alan Turing did not even define what thinking meant. He simply stated that this was absurd to try to define thinking, and he directly proposed his imitation game instead.
It is played with 3 people, a man, a woman, and an interrogator. In order that tones of voice may not help the interrogator, the answers should be typewritten. The object of the game for the interrogator is to determine which of the other 2 is the man and which is the woman. We now ask the question: what will happen when a machine takes the part of A in the game? Will the interrogator decide wrongly as often when the game is played like this, as he does when the game is played between a man and a woman? These questions replace our original "Can machines think?"
As you can see, the original game was not about detecting if an interlocutor was a machine or not. It was about detecting who is the man and who is the woman, without even having to identify if the man is replaced by a machine or not. The paper of Turing was clear about the fact that the purpose of the imitation game was not to detect the presence of consciousness in a computer. There was a whole section about it, the argument of consciousness. It ended with a very clear statement.
I do not wish to give the impression that I think there is no mystery about consciousness, but I do not think these mysteries necessarily need to be solved before we can answer the question with which we were concerned in this paper.
Turing estimated that in 50 years from his time, computers would become so powerful that the interrogator would be fooled at least 70% of the time, after a test no longer than 5 minutes. This 70% threshold is often wrongly explained as the threshold beyond which computers can be claimed as conscious. And that's a complete misinterpretation of Turing's paper. Does it make sense to use a human being as a tool to detect consciousness? Looking at human subjectivity and cognitive bias, the doubt is allowed. People have a strong tendency to see consciousness where there is none. In 1964, Joseph Weizenbaum of MIT created Eliza, a chatbot who was a very rudimentary simulator of human conversation, with pre-programmed answers and without any capability to understand what it was saying. Nevertheless, many users of Eliza were convinced that Eliza was conscious and had feelings. This was called the Eliza effect.
Eliza, Eliza.
So, we have seen that the Turing test was in fact a thought experiment. It was created before computers and AI even existed. It was not aimed to detect consciousness within a machine. It was aimed to detect machine intelligence, but without even defining what intelligence is. It was based on the very doubtful ability of humans to properly identify intelligence during an imitation game. Well, any reasonable person would say that this test is totally obsolete and irrelevant. And as a matter of fact,
of course, that seems so simple by today's standards. Advances in conversational AI combined with the limited field of a specific subject matter made this version of the Turing test largely irrelevant. So today, we have spin-off tests intended to be more effective in determining true AI. These include the Marcus test, which measures a computer's comprehension of a TV show, and the Lovelace test 2.0, which gauges a computer's ability to create art.
GPT was put to the test. Let's have a look. But now, researchers at UC San Diego did a Turing test that I think should make even scientists happy.
The internet is freaking out because scientists at the University of California said that large language models had officially passed the Turing test.
So yes, that's official. GPT-4 passed the Turing test in 2024. What does it prove? Nothing new, because this test is totally obsolete, and we all know that years after years AI is better and better in mimicking human behaviors. So that's a storm in a teacup. But of course the drama queens and the clickbaiters were there to spread the news. And of course I kept the best for the end. Please sit tight and fasten your seatbelt.
Terrifying study reveals AI robots have passed Turing tests and now are indistinguishable from humans, scientists say.
Yeah.
Bro, we're so fucked.
It is I think the good things is it'll probably cure loneliness a little bit. Like old people have a little robot friend. That's good.
100%, but it's going to be real weird. And it could be complete population collapse. No bullshit.
Because of the jobs they replace?
The jobs they replace, people having no desire to take care of kids or have kids when you can give a robot girlfriend.
Yeah, robot girlfriend would be cool. You know, also, I think it'd be
you thought about it? You're like, yeah, we're all going to die. Robot girlfriend would be cool, like a nut inside this robot.
Yeah, they're going to probably like sell like their vaginas separately to get the actual cash.
A robot girlfriend that you have to keep alive with cum. The only way, it's the only way to keep her alive. I got the one. You got to fill her up every day, or she just gets narcolepsy.
The background music of the video was produced by Critical Mass. You can find the link in the description. Critical Mass,
Goes in by
and see you soon!